When I came into office, I decided that Seattle Police Department, in fact all Seattle departments, were going to look in terms of its composition like the city that, they were serving and that they represented. So we immediately set in place a series of things, a series of moves which would encourage and ensure that minorities were going to be adequately represented in departments. When I took office, there was one black fireman. There were two black policemen. In fact, there's only one woman at that time. It was an amazing thing, but it was in keeping with what was happening across the country. That was what departments looked like in every city. Seattle was not unusual in any way. And so we did a whole bunch of things, like set up a system of what's known as selective certification in the Civil Service Department. I was criticized, in fact sued by the police union, the guild, and the case was taken to the state Supreme Court, where I won. That didn't make me very popular in the department at that time, but it was necessary to do. There was no other way that we were going to see the kind of change that had to be accomplished.
Did you also make appointments of minorities in your administration?
A number of them. The first superintendent of the building department was a person named Al Petty, a very competent guy. He's a very good friend of mine after all these years, who just happened to be the facilities manager for the Boeing company. A tremendously important job, and one that requires a lot of skill, and we were criticized for that. As it turned out, he did a wonderful job, and everybody finally got around to the point they could look beyond his skin color and see the kind of job he was doing. And there were others. Walt Hundley. Walter was brought in, and I put him in the most critical job in the entire administration, in any administration, and that's the budget director. He made a series of decisions and moves that really I asked him to do, but he took a great deal of personal criticism, and the brunt of that. He was the focus of a recall election in 1973 or 4, where the city light workers and others, the firemen, got together because of these steps that we'd taken, and they named me, of course, to be recalled, but they named him as the person who I had appointed an incompetent person. Well, Walter was a long way from being incompetent. He was very competent, and he did a wonderful job, and went on to, I appointed him after we literally burned him out in the budget department. And I appointed Parks Director, where he lasted clear on through, I think, the next mayor's administration.